Tonight, Canadians are on their way home from Wuhan.
And for some, it was touch and go to get a seat.
Super relieved for this last-minute miracle.
When they're off the plane, they'll be off to quarantine. We'll show you where.
I'm like, oh my God, it's another railway disaster.
A fiery train derailment in Saskatchewan just 2 months after the last one.
The politics of pipelines and projects. Rosie and At Issue are here.
And shining a light on products that lighten the skin.
That should not be available over the counter.
What's illegal to sell and what could be dangerous. This is The National. Tonight, the coronavirus here in Canada and overseas. New cases in both places and Canadians very much affected. Here at home, British Columbia has announced 2 new patients. That brings the number of infections in this country up to 7.
While overseas, hundreds of other Canadians have finally escaped the epicenter of the outbreak. They're headed home on 2 planes, one chartered by Ottawa, one by Washington. Now, of the 194 people who said they wanted to be on the Canadian flight today, 176 got on board in Wuhan. That plane is now on its way to Vancouver. There, it'll land, refuel, and carry on to CFB Trenton, east of Toronto. That's where passengers will be processed and quarantined. And that group will include permanent residents. That's unexpected, as China said it would only allow Canadian citizens to leave. But, as the Foreign Affairs Minister points out, it's a fluid situation.
We are aware of the rules that China has been putting forward for all nations, but clearly we're going to be trying our best, and if we have a chance, because a lot of that, as you would appreciate, is done pretty much at the gate at the very end, who gets in or not. So we're certainly pushing to include also permanent residents who could be coming back home, and we will continue to make that representation to China.
Now, in addition to that first flight, dozens of other Canadians are on an American charter plane tonight. Whichever one they caught, it's a big relief for all of them, something that comes through loud and clear in this next story from Ashley Burke.
They just told us that we're boarding now.
The uncertainty is over.
Super relieved for this last-minute miracle.
Megan Millward was afraid her husband, a permanent resident, would not be allowed on the plane with her and their 2 children. But by stroke of luck, he was.
Because we came in the wrong door of the airport, if we had come in the proper departure level door, they would have barred him entry because his name was not on the list at that point. But we parked the car in another parking lot and came in on the wrong floor. And so
at this point, Canadian officials pushed Beijing to let him on board. And he's not the only one.
We are waiting in front of the boarding gate.
At one point, Kai Wong was told his 78-year-old mother couldn't leave China. She's a permanent resident, he's a Canadian citizen. In the end, both were allowed on the U.S. plane.
We're so excited to get here.
But for some, just getting there was an ordeal.
It's raining hard. You can see it's pretty deserted.
Last night, we spoke to an Ottawa family of 3.
Hello. Hello.
Stuck at the final checkpoint for 24 hours. CBC News agreed to withhold their names as they fear for their family's safety.
This has been rather traumatic and very exhausting.
At the airport today, he's worried about getting sick.
They're handling everyone's immigration documents, everyone's luggage, and searching everyone. And they have full hazmat suits on. But, you know, we are just dressed normally. And we had to take off our face masks multiple times.
Officials say if anyone becomes ill during the flight, they'll be isolated from other passengers. But Millward's already looking further ahead.
we're looking forward to getting through the long flight in the 2 weeks and then getting back to life as usual in Montreal.
Those 2 weeks she's talking about will be spent under quarantine, but at least they'll be together. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Now, after the flight refuels in Vancouver, it will fly the final leg, 4.5 hours to CFB Trenton. That is where passengers will spend the next 2 weeks. And Ellen Morrow is at the base tonight. So, Ellen, can you walk us through what it's like there?
Well, Adrienne, it has been a rush to get things ready here, but earlier today I got an inside look at what the passengers will see in just a few hours. This is where the evacuees' journey will begin at CFB Trenton on this tarmac behind me where the plane will land. The evacuees will then go into that hangar right beside it. After landing, they'll be greeted by welcome signs and Canada Border Service agents. This is the hangar where the Wuhan evacuees will be processed. One of the steps will be those tables right there where they'll meet with agents from the Public Health Agency of Canada. If someone is requiring assistance, that red flag on those tables will be raised. Now, if someone is ill, if they require a higher level of care, they will be brought to that blue and white tent in the background. That tent would essentially operate as an isolation room should someone require it. So this is a complicated, a multi-agency, multi-step processing the evacuees will go through, but it's all necessary before they can move over to Yukon Lodge, where they'll spend their 14-day quarantine period. This is the Yukon Lodge. Essentially, it's a basic hotel here on the base where the evacuees will spend their quarantine period. So they'll be isolated from the public. They'll also be largely isolated from each other while they're here on the base. Inside, a sanitary welcome. Hygiene kits from the Red Cross with disinfectant wipes, laundry soap, and other necessities. Then finally, they'll get to their rooms. And that's it. For 2 weeks, no public meals, no socializing, all part of life under quarantine.
And so, Ellen, what is the plan in the event someone gets sick?
Well, Adrienne, if anyone shows any symptoms of the coronavirus, they will be transferred to one of 2 local hospitals. I spoke to officials there today. They insist that they're ready, but the expectation and certainly the hope is that their services will not be needed.
All right, Ellen and CFB Trenton, thanks very much. Now, Canadians who did not get out of China today will have another chance next week. The government has chartered another plane for Monday. The same screening protocols apply. Those showing symptoms will not be allowed to board.
Now, while those passengers make their way home by air, among thousands of quarantined cruise ship passengers, there are hundreds of Canadians who are well aware they'll have to wait well beyond Monday. At least 30 Canadians on board a lockdown vessel in Hong Kong. There are also more than 250 others stuck on a quarantine ship off of the coast of Japan. Tanya Fletcher has the latest on their stalled journeys.
The room is not big because it's quite small.
Vancouver's Jennifer Lee is one of the lucky ones. She's got a balcony so close to port, the one side now lined with media.
And then there's a whole bunch of reporters there, can you see?
The other, a holding area for emergency responders.
Yeah, and also the helicopters going around, like a lot of helicopters, and those are ambulance.
It's only day 3 of 14 under lockdown aboard the Diamond Princess, and already anxiety is building.
We are very worried, even though we are very healthy now, and we felt that we should leave the boat as soon as possible.
But here they'll stay, this intercom a lifeline.
So I have some additional good news to share for all guests on board.
Good news is hard to come by. Passengers claim the communication is limited, the information slow. Some sliding notes under their door, this one pleading for a bar of soap to do laundry in the sink. Outside, crews offloaded another group of sick passengers. A total of 61 now infected with coronavirus, at least 2 of them Canadian. Thousands of kilometers away, another cruise ship under quarantine, this one off Hong Kong. At least 30 of the thousands of those people trapped aboard the World Dream are from Canada.
This situation is really unique.
This travel agent says for many passengers, the situation could grow drastically worse.
Normally it would be senior clients on this kind of cruise. If they've got medical conditions, if they're running out of meds, then that might be a concern.
Concerns constantly weighing on those back aboard the Diamond Princess.
We still have 12 more days, so 12 more days seems like a long time.
Canadian Roger Maniscalco and his wife Carrie reflect on the happier parts of their trip while trying to focus on the positive. Their only human contact now, the suited up staff who bring food to their door.
They have masks and gloves on, so it's actually quite safe. It's a feeling of being quite safe right now.
Continuing to find comfort any way they can. Tanya Fletcher, CBC News, Vancouver.
And a little later, we'll look at a potentially crucial piece of the coronavirus story, the hunt for a vaccine. and why big pharmaceutical companies don't always get in on the action when there's an outbreak.
The people of a Saskatchewan village are out of their homes tonight after a remarkable, upsetting, and potentially dangerous coincidence. An explosive train derailment just kilometers away for the second time in less than 2 months. So early this morning, a CP Rail freight train jumped the tracks. 31 cars, most carrying crude oil, derailed. That sent thick black smoke rising over farms and homes and leading to a voluntary evacuation order. Residents have plenty of concerns, and they shared them with our Bonnie Allen.
Eyewitnesses were stunned. Just after 6 a.m., a CP train moving crude oil derailed. 12 cars erupted into a huge ball of orange fire that lit up the dark sky.
And I'm like, oh my God, it's another railway disaster. On the other side of town this time.
Home care worker Patty Prentice is feeling a bit shaken. She's been nervous about trains moving oil so close to her home ever since another one derailed less than 2 months ago, about 10 kilometers from here. That one was also explosive. A CP train dumped 1.5 million liters of crude oil into the ground and atmosphere.
When we see all these cars, as long as they are, full of oil coming through, I think that scares all of us more now because it is getting closer to our small towns.
When you have this happening and twice in 2 months, like that's ridiculous.
This time, thick black smoke forced the evacuation of the village's 80 residents to a neighboring town. CP Rail is paying for meals and putting evacuees in hotels until the safety threat is over.
My husband owns the garage out on right in front of the railroad tracks there, so I mean, kind of scary. We could lose everything out there.
The Transportation Safety Board is still investigating December's derailment, so its cause remains unknown. The investigation of this one has just begun.
Mr. Speaker.
But the federal transport minister, Marc Garneau, isn't waiting to take action.
Very concerned with the derailment of trains that are carrying dangerous goods, and I have therefore decided to put in place, for safety purposes, a ministerial order.
A speed restriction effective midnight Friday. All trains in Canada with 20 or more rail cars containing dangerous goods must travel half the normal speed, at least for the next month. Bonnie Allen, CBC News, near Guernsey, Saskatchewan.
And truck drivers hauling oil and gas are protesting the blockade of a Regina refinery. The independent truckers say the dispute at the Federated Cooperatives plant has nothing to do with them. They just want access to the products they're supposed to deliver. The refinery locked workers out in early December. Today, a judge granted an injunction aimed at ending the blockade.
Well, to another injunction now, and a new flashpoint today in the fight over a contentious pipeline in northern British Columbia. The RCMP have begun enforcing a court order arresting protesters at Indigenous camps. The camps were set up to block construction of the Coastal GasLink pipeline, it being a key component of the project that runs across the province to an export terminal at Kitimat. But it goes through Wet'suwet'en territory without the consent of hereditary chiefs. Laura Lynch has more.
The arrest started before dawn. In all, RCMP took 6 people into custody and dismantled the camp. Land defenders, as they call themselves, have been blocking access to the site for months. Several kilometers further away, police set up their own blockade to screen anyone else wanting to go in, including Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs.
By our law, you cannot stop us. We are peaceful people, but we do have a right to be on our territory. What is your answer?
Police did allow them through, but stopped them short of any construction vehicles. The chiefs have been hoping to halt construction of a $6 billion pipeline meant to carry liquefied natural gas to port on the BC coast, a project supported by many elected band councils and the province. Talks between the chiefs and the province broke down earlier this week.
It's not the outcome we had hoped for or have been working toward. We are continuing to be hopeful that there will be a peaceful resolution, and our dialogue with the Wet'suwet'en and other people in the community will continue.
So far, though, actions are replacing words. Protests against the arrest popped up in Vancouver, Victoria, and near Trenton, Ontario, blocking trains and access to a port.
Orders and injunctions from the Supreme Court of British Columbia are not optional invitations or suggestions for the parties and the police. Instead, they are mandatory directions from the court. Police are not at liberty to choose which law to follow.
Still, images like these are unlikely to quell criticism from First Nations groups who support the hereditary chiefs and oppose the project. Laura Lynch, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, it didn't take long for Donald Trump to take an impeachment trial victory lap. Yesterday, the Senate acquitted him. Today, in a long speech, he thanked his supporters and lashed out at everyone else. Susan Ormiston was there.
All smiles, the president celebrated with his Republican warriors, as he called them.
This is what the end result is.
No fake news now. Trump lashed out at the Democrats who wounded him with impeachment.
It was evil, it was corrupt, it was dirty cops, it was leakers and liars.
For over an hour, a remarkable spectacle. Trump revisiting grievances he's held since the 2016 election and the Mueller probe.
Russia, Russia, Russia. It was all bullshit.
Demeaning those who dared stand in his way, like the former FBI director, James Comey.
Because when I fired that sleazebag,
the Speaker of the House,
Nancy Pelosi, is a horrible person.
And Republican Mitt Romney, who yesterday voted to convict.
It's a failed presidential candidate, so things can happen when you fail so badly.
The President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
The poisonous tone was set early at a national prayer breakfast. Trump gloated and then scolded Pelosi for once saying she prayed for him.
Nor do I like people who say, I pray for you, when they know that that's not so.
He's talking about things that he knows little about, faith and prayer.
With his approval ratings rising, Trump's performance here was a call to arms, rewarding those who had his back.
Thank you very much.
And dispatching them to the bitter battle for the White House in 2020.
All right, so Susan, you were in the room when this was happening. What did that feel like?
It was quite extraordinary. It was like a post-game victory celebration with 200 of the president's loyal defenders, everyone from his legal team to the representatives and senators who stood behind him all the way. It was an award ceremony for their loyalty. Also an attack, of course. You heard some of the language, crass at times. This was the president's payback for months of derision, he said, at the hands of Democrats. And even those journalists who've been around the White House a long time said they'd never seen anything quite like this.
All right, every day is different. Susan, thanks very much. The Iowa Democratic Party says Pete Buttigieg has narrowly defeated Bernie Sanders in the state's Democratic caucus, but the race was so close, the chair of the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, called for a recanvass of the results earlier today. Tom Perez tweeted, "Enough is enough," saying a recanvass would assure public confidence in the results. Pete Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders were neck and neck for days. Technical problems and delays have marred the entire contest.
Well, as the number of confirmed cases of coronavirus rises each day, the search for a vaccine is heating up, but that work may not help this time.
I can't recall the last time, if it's ever happened, that a vaccine was made in time to deal with the outbreak.
Ahead on The National, why big drug makers aren't that interested.
And Toronto's getting some big money from big tech. What does it mean for the little guys?
And it's At Issue Night. Rosie and the gang break down how the government is handling two major energy versus the environment files. We're back in 2. Big news today for big tech in Canada. Google became the latest heavyweight to announce a hiring spree. It plans to triple its Canadian workforce over the next 3 years. Peter Armstrong now on some of the consequences.
These are heady days for Canada's tech industry. Every week, it seems, another company expands and grows. This week, it's Google's turn.
We are announcing that we are building 3 new offices in Toronto, Montreal, and Waterloo. Woo! Super excited.
Google's chief financial officer says this is about tapping into Canada's booming tech sector.
And that's going to give us the capacity to grow to 5,000 people by 2022. And it really reflects the extraordinary momentum that we're seeing in Canada.
Announcements like this are a shot in the arm of an industry that's quietly become the fastest growing tech region in North America. For years now, CBC News has chronicled a nearly breathless search for talent.
About 25 employees to about 50 or 52.
By the end of the year, we hope to hire another 10 to 15 people.
Every time a tech giant lands here, local companies feel ever more squeezed.
It's very competitive, and it's getting more competitive for talent.
Ian Klugman runs an organization that's helped build up the tech community in Canada. He says the struggle now that it's booming is making sure local startups don't get overshadowed.
We don't want to become a branch plant economy, but we also understand the need for diversity in an ecosystem, diversity in an economy. Small companies are key because they will grow.
Google says there's room for everyone, and part of today's announcement is a new incubator aimed at helping local startups secure funding.
We do best when the broad ecosystem works well.
But any ecosystem can be fragile, something to watch for when an already big player suddenly triples in size. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, Toronto.
Among the other stories we're following tonight on The National, an Ottawa City Councillor is sharing a hair-raising video of a very close call between a car and a school bus earlier this week. So the video is just a few seconds long. At the top of the screen, you can see the bus coming to a stop, opening its doors to let kids out. Just seconds later, that car is seen speeding past on the right in a clearly marked bike lane.
I hope that as drivers see these kinds of videos, they're just that much more aware of the potential consequences of their own actions.
Luckily, the bus driver saw the car coming and stopped the kids from getting off the bus.
We have not made the decision to do what we're doing lightly.
Nearly 1 million students were out of class in Ontario as some 80,000 elementary school teachers picketed across the province, marking a significant escalation in the labor dispute. All of Ontario's major teacher unions are currently involved in some kind of job action.
And next on The National, work is underway to create a vaccine for the coronavirus. But big pharma companies don't always get involved in preventing outbreaks. We'll tell you why.
Plus,
that should not be available over the counter.
It's a multi-billion-dollar beauty business with an ugly message. Marketplace investigates skin lightening creams. Returning now to our top story, 176 Canadians stranded in Wuhan boarded a flight back to Canada today. They will be quarantined at a Canadian Forces base so they can be monitored for signs of coronavirus. More than 31,000 cases have been reported around the world, most in China, with about now 636 deaths. Among them, a significant figure, 33-year-old Dr. Li Wenliang. He started warning about a SARS-like illness back in December, only to be accused by Wuhan police of spreading rumors online. Li was diagnosed a few weeks ago. He died in hospital today. Now, pharmaceutical teams are racing to come up with an effective vaccine for the coronavirus, but experts say getting one in time to stop this outbreak is unlikely. However, as Christine Birak tells us, the virus has renewed the push for a vaccine development even when the outbreak is over.
We got the bug growing. We got most of the protein isolated. We'll have an antibody test within a week.
Raging viral outbreaks in movies usually end with a last-minute vaccine. But here's the reality.
I can't recall the last time, if it's ever happened, that a vaccine was made in time to deal with the outbreak.
Not with Ebola, Zika, or SARS. For this novel coronavirus, scientists did get the genetic code early, and it's similar to SARS. Problem is, potential SARS vaccines were abandoned after the virus was contained.
The scientists always race and say, we'll get a vaccine together, but then a lot of stuff just dies out in freezers because the outbreak is not there.
The fact is, vaccines take time. Scientists must find a trigger particle to kickstart the body's defenses, pass several stages of testing, some involving thousands of patients. Then, if Health Canada approves, a drug company has to mass produce the vaccine and monitor it for reactions. It all takes at least a year.
And big drug makers are not eager to get involved. If the outbreak is over before the vaccine is ready, companies lose millions of dollars.
Vaccines and therapeutics are not silver bullets.
Even beyond this outbreak, the World Health Organization wants funding to better coordinate the research and development of vaccines.
Nobody's developing those products because there is no incentive, economically speaking.
Gary Kobinger and his team are working to find a novel coronavirus vaccine. Their work is paid for in part by a nonprofit group called CEPI. He says if a nonprofit could mass produce vaccines, that would be a game changer.
There is the possibility to have not-for-profit entity creating good job, for example, in Canada, and producing those vaccines and those treatments at no profit.
This is the third coronavirus outbreak in 18 years. It's hoped the world will be better prepared for the next one. Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
Okay, coming up on The National, investigating $1 billion beauty industry. The truth about skin-lightening creams. But first, let's get you to Ottawa and Rosie.
It's Thursday, so At Issue is here, and so am I. And as the government deals with several resource versus the environment files, we'll break down how the Trudeau Liberals are juggling their promises to all sides. We'll see you right after the break.
public supports it. Overwhelmingly Aboriginal groups support it. The cabinet has reviewed it twice and approved it. And now the courts have spoken yet again.
Jason Kenney talking there about the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion after the Federal Court of Appeal found there was meaningful consultation with First Nations.
To anybody who says that you can't get major projects built in this country, you can.
Now, Ottawa has to deal with another proposal. Teck Resources' $20 billion frontier mine would be one of Alberta's largest ever.
The Liberals are holding hostage 10,000 much-needed jobs in Alberta. No wonder Alberta says this decision is a national unity issue.
We are mandated to review the environmental impacts of all of those projects. We will be making a decision by the end of February.
That decision will be undoubtedly another test for the Trudeau Liberals on one of the most divisive debates in this country. How does the government balance the environment and the economy? At Issue is here to tackle that. Chantal Hébert is in Montreal. Andrew Coyne is in St. John's tonight. And Althea Raj is here in Ottawa. Good to see everyone. So let's start with the TMX decision this week, which was an important one, certainly, for the government. I suppose it could now be appealed to the Supreme Court, but the judgment itself made some pretty definitive statements around the way this consultation went. Chantal, I'll start with you. From your take, is that part of the debate over?
Yes, there has been, since the new year, a feeling of inevitability that this project will be built to completion, in part because of this week's ruling that can be appealed, yes, but it is a unanimous ruling. And that will have some way if it is taken to the Supreme Court, but also the Supreme Court's rebuttal to BC's attempt to have it affirm its right to decide how much fossil fuel and others can transit through its territory. So that's 2-0 for the project. It is really hard to see where in the court system or politically this battle could be taken to another level and won by opponents of the project.
And it's a good thing probably too, because the shovels are actually in the ground. Construction has started, so to have to put the brakes on that would have been problematic for the government, certainly. Andrew, your thoughts on whether this particular issue now is sort of over?
Well, with regard to Trans Mountain Pipeline, perhaps. I think there's still waits to be seen what kind of extra legal or sort of guerrilla action type of opposition we might see, but perhaps that's also going to subside in the face of the seeming inevitability of it. But I think what this tells us is, for this issue in general, we talk about it as being the environment versus the economy, but it's actually like about a 5- or 6-sided equation. It's not just the environment and the economy, it's also Indigenous groups for and against, provincial governments for and against. And navigating through all this, I think, is partly what's been so bedeviling for everybody involved. I will say, however, the last week or two has been a pretty good week or two for pipeline development. You had not only these two court decisions favorable to it, but you actually had the government of Alberta and the government of Canada saying nice things about each other. That's unusual.
It may not continue either. I guess we'll see by the end of the month. But Althea, your take on TMX and whether the chapter is closed there, in spite of the fact that there are a handful of First Nations groups that are still very upset.
Well, I don't think it is, just for that very reason. Whether or not this case goes to the Supreme Court, I'm sure the Indigenous groups would like to see it, but it looked like the way the Court of Appeal structured its decision, it went kind of beyond the scope of what it was required to do in dismissing all of the 4 claims one by one on every point, I assume in a way to prevent or to kind of make it moot going to the Supreme Court. But there are many things in the judgment that I think will probably irk Indigenous groups and Indigenous people throughout this country. It almost, the first 20 pages of the judgment almost seem like it would engineer an emotional response. Like, it talks about reconciliation by saying that the process of consultation based on a relationship of mutual respect advances reconciliation regardless of the outcome. Yep. The court doesn't feel that it needs to define what is reasonable and meaningful, because that would be too strict a standard, and it would give Indigenous groups a potential veto. It says, come to our table, but we will decide what we think competing societal interests are, and we are not forced to listen to you. And I think that, and that message that they have that message that they've heard repeatedly, I think that is a barrier to reconciliation. So I think that issue is not dead.
But I'm not sure it's that clear-cut in the sense that what the court actually said is the duty to consult does not require the outcome to be unanimity amongst the indigenous groups. And at this point...
But that's not what they said.
Yes, they did point out that there were a number, more than 100, in their writing.
That's true.
That had either stopped opposing or agreed with the Trans Mountain expansion, leaving the 4 who were still in court asking for review. I think a lot of provincial governments will take some relief from the notion that unanimity in any community is hard to achieve. BC has to deal with that problem at this very juncture.
Let's turn to the decision they have to make by the end of the month, this big Teck Frontier oil sands mine. It's a huge project. The CEO has said that, you know, unless the price of oil goes up, I'm not even sure it makes sense, that it's profitable. The company itself has now committed to some environmental standards around net zero by 2050, which is now the government's goal. Andrew, if you had to read the tea leaves on this, the fact that TMX seems to be moving forward, I don't know, does that give the government an out here, or is Alberta not going to let them off the hook that quickly?
The sense I get is that the government would like to find a deal where the project goes ahead, but there's some compensating, offsetting initiative that they can claim victory on that, of moving towards net zero, et cetera, which I think is perfectly valid. I think we have to get out of this idea of weighing every single project as if it's the only project and the only thing that has to be weighed in the balance about whether or not we're meeting our targets. What matters is the totality. What matters is you know, what's the overall progress towards it, and you can, even if you're allowing more emissions in one area, you can reduce emissions in another, and that's the way in which we should be looking at these questions.
Althea, you were writing today, I think, or yesterday, about some questions inside caucus around the project, and I guess whether the Liberals felt approving the project would in some way hurt their environmental bona fides.
So there's definitely some members of cabinet, and I think the Prime Minister actually is of this mind. I don't know that to be the case, but that seems to be the general sense that a middle ground is possible here, that they could approve the project with conditions that they would, kind of like Amarjeet Sohi mentioned or publicly floated the idea of having fixed caps and targets. Whether that's enforceable is another issue that would help Canada get to its promise to be net zero by 2050. The caucus is not behind the Prime Minister on this issue. The overwhelming majority of caucus is not, and I would even go so far to say as most members of cabinet are not. And it's going to be very tricky because this is a minority government. A lot of caucus members feel, and frankly, when you look at where the Liberals have members, they're mostly in Ontario and Quebec. Those people went to the polls and basically told NDP swing voters, vote for us, and they were met, yeah, but you bought a pipeline. How can I trust you on these environmental pledges? And they fear that is once again, not only that they don't agree with the policy, they think 4.1 million tons of carbon emissions is way too much and it will prevent us from meeting our Paris climate targets, but they feel like the politics don't make any sense, that the voters in Alberta are never going to vote Liberal, even if they put their neck out for a project that may not even get built. Why would the government do this? And so this is a very hot and contentious issue within the Liberal caucus.
There are people around the cabinet table who are making the case that that so-called middle ground is the perfect place to stand if you want to get shot at and killed by both sides. I.e. those
they
conditions.
Like the middle ground, though. They like it.
Yes, and many of their members, Althea is totally right, and that includes ministers, say, look at what that did to us. It was hard to go door to door and tell voters who are concerned about climate change that the government had bought a pipeline, that the first major decision of this government on a file related to climate change is to double down on more oil sands development is actually in a different league than expanding a pipeline to take care or take whatever is produced to tidewater. So this issue divides caucus and the Prime Minister and Cabinet far more than the Trans Mountain expansion ever did. And there are Liberals who will tell you, if you think Trans Mountain was an albatross for us, this is 5 times the albatross.
So what about the gamble, Andrew, of just doing what we've all heard, that we'll give you the green light with these conditions and just hope that it doesn't get built, or does that just do you lose all your credibility anyway, whether it happens or not?
Well, it depends which groups of voters you're talking about. There are obviously there are voters who are climate change absolutists. And yes, if you're in a riding where the contest is between a Liberal and an NDP, you're going to feel a particular way about that. There are also voters who want to see a balance being struck, and not just in Alberta, but also in Ontario. And if you're a riding where you're contesting with a Conservative MP, you might be more inclined to say we've got to make sure we strike the right balance here. So I think there's risks in both directions for the government in this regard.
I think the problem, though. Can I just add that I think the government made the case for the pipeline, and I think other premiers, not just Premier Notley at the time, but made the case that the pipeline was necessary. Aside from saying this is a national unity issue, you're basically telling Alberta, giving them the finger, we don't need you. Like, nobody is saying why this project that will possibly provide $70 billion in tax revenue, and when it's up and running, 2,500 jobs, nobody has come out and made a clear case as to why this is in the national interest. So it is hard, I think, for the Liberals to say yes to this project in a way that it wasn't for TMX.
It's definitively a lose-lose decision, whichever side of the issue you want to look at it from. But the underlying question, once that call is made, is if you say yes to this, and it will contribute significantly to climate change emissions, what project exactly would you say no to in the name of your climate change targets?
Okay.
Well, but likewise, okay.
That's it. She gets the last word. Before we go, be sure to subscribe to At Issue, the podcast edition. This week, we're going to talk a little more about Peter MacKay's bid to be the next Conservative leader. Look for it on any major podcast app, our website, cbcnews.ca/The National.
And next on The National, skin lightening creams sell with a toxic message.
But a marketplace investigation reveals some of the creams might be dangerous themselves.
Mercury has some carcinogenic effects. And as well, the steroid, it's too strong.
We test them next. This week, CBC Marketplace puts the spotlight on the business of skin lightening. The multi-billion-dollar global business often comes with harmful advertising messages. But as Asha Tomlinson found out, some of the products could be dangerous too and are being sold illegally here in Canada.
Some people believe lighter skin is better.
What comes with lighter skin? Can I be very honest? Great opportunities, to be honest. That's what I feel.
It gives them attitude. Lighter skin gives them who bleach attitude.
But are skin lightening products as toxic as the message? We find dozens of products in stores across Canada with our hidden cameras rolling.
This one works really, really good. Like, we were sold out of this for a while.
Become in second. Become white.
And we sent some of the most popular ones to a lab in the UK to test for mercury, hydroquinone, which has links to cancer, and 2 potent steroids.
Dr. Kellett, how are you? Nice to see you.
We share our findings with this Toronto dermatologist.
Our test results found as much as 4% hydroquinone in this bottle, and it's not even listed.
That should not be available over the counter.
Hydroquinone over 2% requires a prescription. The company behind this product says what we tested must be counterfeit. What they ship to Canada is totally hydroquinone free, and that they promote a black is beautiful message.
Our test results found.
This product we bought online had up to 16,000 times the amount of mercury allowed by Health Canada and a steroid.
Mercury has some carcinogenic effects, and as well the steroid, it's too strong for use.
Gorey says their product isn't supposed to be sold here and insists they don't use any mercury. They suspect this may be a knockoff. Health Canada declined our repeated requests for an interview, but after months of asking, issued a new advisory, warning Canadians that it's illegal to sell unauthorized skin whitening creams. Many of the stores we visited cleared their shelves after we contacted them, including Clore Beauty Supply.
Now that I do know, I do feel totally responsible for it.
And the company says they're removing them for good. Asha Tomlinson, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, Marketplace contacted all of the companies behind the products they tested. Many said their creams are not meant to promote a desire for whiter skin. They're intended to even skin tone, and added they're not meant to be sold in Canada. To watch the full investigation, watch Shady Business tomorrow night on CBC Television at 8 p.m., 8:30 in Newfoundland.
We're following several other international stories tonight, including the latest in the Harvey Weinstein trial. Prosecutors rested their case against the former Hollywood producer today. Now the defense will begin calling its own witnesses. His lawyers have yet to say whether Weinstein will take the stand. The 67-year-old is charged with raping a woman in 2013 and sexually assaulting another in 2006. That's a mess. Debate in Ukraine's parliament turned physical today as tensions rose over a controversial land reform. The proposed change would allow the sale of protected farmland. The politicians pushed each other, even as other lawmakers tried to just keep talking. Things did eventually calm down, and the bill is expected to work its way through the system nicely over the next several days. Now, being a mayor of a big Canadian city means you're used to the spotlight, but maybe not like this.
My friends making fun of me, saying, I didn't know that you were into romantic walks along the beach.
What happened to the mayor of Niagara Falls after his photo was used to promote a dating website? Next. All right, take a moment here. Have a look at this dating site ad. In particular, the bottom row right in the center. So that is the mayor of Niagara Falls, Ontario, except he did not put his picture there or authorize its use. In fact, his mug is on multiple sites. So when people started sending him photos of these dating ads, he had a bit of a laugh and a good takeaway for the rest of us. And that's our moment.
It wasn't the first time that this has happened. A dating site in the U.S. on Plenty of Fish were using my picture, my identity, as well as my kids and my dog. I was receiving an awful lot of screenshots saying, I don't think this is you. If you were to go on my Facebook page, there's so many funny comments. Most of them are my friends making fun of me, saying, I didn't know that you were into romantic walks along the beach. I know if my friends have anything to do with it, they're going to make sure this continues to live on. My ex-wife's getting a laugh out of it. My family is too. I don't get too worked up about anything. So to me, this is just another blip in the life of being the mayor of the city of Niagara Falls. And the takeaway is, remember, when you put your pictures and your story out into the internet world, it's out there for everyone to see.
Okay, he is an awfully good sport about this, and I don't know if that's the nature of being a politician, that any publicity is helps maybe,
Right.
But what really does seem to bother him is the use of his kids' images, and he says it's creepy, and he's not wrong about that.
Well, and it's creepy to the point where police have actually gotten involved, and they have managed to track down a user who was using that profile photo apparently and have that account removed. But boy, what a surprise.
And he's enjoying it at the moment.
Yeah, well, good for him. That's The National for this Thursday, February 6th.
Good night.